All right, guys, welcome back to Zando Football. Definitely appreciate the support. In this video, we are going to get into the next play that I want to go over, and it is called PA wide receiver in. And it's a very simple play, but it is an effective play when you use it against the coverages that it is good against. I love to run this against double high, uh, pretty much any double high coverage. As long as we are getting a soft pass rush, and what I mean by that is they're not rushing more than four. This is a play that I love to run. It is a coverage read play, and it is a simple play to run once you understand what we are trying to accomplish here. All right, so real quickly, um, I'll go over where you can get some really big plays with this. So right away, I notice my opponent is in two-man here. All right, two deep safeties and man-to-man underneath. You guys know in two-man, the underneath defenders are in playing inside trail. Okay, and you'll see where we can get a really big play with this play against a lot of different plays, but especially two-man. As you see here, I rip it inside. That may seem like a really tight window, but you know, what's most important is looking at a play and understanding what we're trying to do. All right, so on the outside, what we have is a deep post being ran and a wheel route being ran, but we are getting like a switch release out here. All right, where he's gonna turn into a wheel, he's gonna come inside, burst inside, and then run this post route. And as I went over in the previous video with the clear out play, okay, you can see how we are trying to get some rub pick action when we get defenders on the same level in man-to-man coverage. All right, so you'll see it here. I'll go ahead and play it. Where when we get this switch release, right, running hip to hip, okay, it really puts this defender in a bind with the wheel coming under this, okay? He has to either go over the route, through our receiver here, or under, okay? And if he goes under, it creates some natural space for our receiver on that on the wheel pattern to the outside. On top of that, the outside corner, okay? I'll go ahead and play it and you'll see it right away. Right here, he's cooked. He's already beat to the inside. And as I've stated in numerous videos, whenever you are in two-man, okay, the worst thing you can do is to get beat inside as a man-to-man underneath defender, all right? Because again, your help is deep into the outside. Safety over here is off screen playing over the top help, okay? And you could see all the grass on the inside. So, you know, this guy is in a bad position with outside. He's outside of the receiver one inside with the switch release, okay? And with this guy breaking on the post and this guy running up the sideline, okay, we are putting stress on the safety over the top, okay, because both of the underneath defenders are beat. So now we have a 2-on-1 on the safety, deep half safety, okay. As you can see here, if the safety plays over the top or he widens, all right, now we can throw the post. If he hinges hard inside to take away that deep post route, well, now we can throw over the top end to the outside on our wheel pattern. Okay, so a very explosive play. As you can see, the deep middle of the field is wide open. So, you know, the window may have seemed narrow in that game footage that I showed here. Okay, I threw it a little late. Okay, but look at all of the grass available here. On top of that, you know, we have the play action underneath to hold first, well, not first level defenders, but second level defenders. Okay, so they can't climb and get in the window of this throw. So that's why it's very important to um, run the ball when you get these types of looks, soft coverage over the top, double high. So when you actually do run this play, okay, your user in the second level will not get in the window of that throw deep down the field. So here I see soft coverage, okay, and I'm going to go over the reads in the play, okay, but again, it's a coverage read play, so based upon the coverage, that dictates what you should read. It's not like a pure progression play, all right, but if you go pure progression like this is soft coverage, double high, all right, Very simple. What I do is we have the drag underneath. He's going to be the 1. And then we have the dig behind. That's the number 2. All right. And then I read post on the 3. That's if you go through the progression on a soft double high type coverage. All right. So you'll see it here. And the goal of the underneath drag here, he really wants to grab a hold of a hook defender from the weak side of the formation. Weak side as in weak side of our formation, which is to the left. Okay, because we have gun Trey open, right? Back is here. All right, so the weak side for us is over here. Okay, with this guy coming across the formation, he really wants to grab attention from the weak side hook defender. All right, and the reason why is because we are getting a high-low read on this defender in soft double high type coverages. So as you see here, you see how it grabs the attention of that defender. Well, that creates a natural window behind him for our second read in the play to run into that window. All right, we rip it in. You almost always want a possession catch that so you don't take a really big hit. So he was in cover 4 drop zone. Soft double high again. And look, we're grabbing that defender and we rip it in there. Okay, this looks like soft double high. Snap. All right, so you get some fun. You will get some funky stuff on the back end because some people will disguise coverage. You'll get, the rotate into single high type stuff where this guy's coming down. Sometimes you'll maybe get a weak where the safety on the weak side goes deep and this guy rocks down. You will get something like this where they both rock down. I mean, you'll get a lot of funky stuff. When you snap the ball and you're reading 1 to 2 to 3 because you're not getting a coverage like 2-man where you know who you are reading, all right, well, then you just make it simple. You just read the drag to the dig to the post. Okay, so that is what I'm doing here. Drag, don't like it. Again, he wants to grab the weak side hook or curl defender here, which he does, and it opens a natural window for us to throw into on our dig pattern. So he was in some type of 3 buzz. So here, I don't remember what my opponent is doing. You may say, hey, this isn't soft double high or double high coverage. Well, I got the clip a little bit late, so I don't know what's going on this game. Obviously, I have a lot of information on him, so maybe I knew it was some type of double high, and I knew it wasn't a blitz. Snap. 1, don't like it. 2, that is there. All right, very simple. But I want to get into the Portland concept. Okay, so I think that is the next clip here. So this is cover 2 zone. All right, so again, you guys know 4-2 zone, 2-man, 0-3-1. I only run this against single high. I haven't even checked how it plays against single high. I just like to simplify things where if I get single high, I run other stuff. Okay, I won't run this against like a cover 0. Again, it's really for soft double high. Again, we're not getting more than a 4-man rush. All right, so 2-man, you can get a really big play deep into the inside, okay, on the post or the dig backside or the drag going underneath because he's running away from man, right? So you have a lot of options against 2-man, okay? And 2 zone, you actually get a very nice pocket to fit this post in. All right, and quite naturally, you may not think that that should be there because in 2 zone, you got the deep path, this guy's cloud, okay, wall 2 player, and it's really because of the 3 rec or not the 3 rec, the mid read. All right, because in cover 2 zone, the mid read, he really should relate to the strong side of the formation, which is over here. All right, so he should really kind of be in the window of this, but because our number 3 is running inside, okay, right away underneath, and then our number 2 is breaking outside on this outside release and stemming outside, you will see that he will then flip his hips to the weak side of the formation as he climbs. And what it does is it creates a natural pocket for us to fit our post pattern. Because again, we are putting this defender in a conflict on a horizontal plane with the post and the wheel. All right, so it's a very unique play. It has a lot of ways that it stretches the defense with high and low reads, horizontal reads, as you can see here. This guy is being stressed horizontally with the post and the wheel. And look at our mid read. Okay, quite naturally, you know, with 3 to the side, you would think that he would be turned. Let me turn this way, being in the window of this post. But again, due to the route combination of the 3 going inside underneath and the number 2 stemming outside, okay, he actually flips his hips to the weak side of the formation. And again, here you go. You have this nice little pocket to fit a post. Now, you may ask, well, what if this guy drives on the post? Well, then you have that wheel pattern over the top. Okay, so there are layers to this play that I love. So here I'll show it in action. Look at that mid read, and there's the pocket. Okay, now this is where we get into the Portland concept. Okay, so Portland concept is something that I've known about maybe for 4 or 5 years, maybe even longer than that. Okay, but it's a concept that I've never really ran in a game to attack a particular coverage. It's something that I never really liked. And what it is, okay, 1-2 offensive line, you know, maybe we'll do something like this. Okay, like a wing type set, quarterback, and back. All right. It's really pretty much the same as the Mills concept. So the Mills is where you have the number 2 running something like a deep in, and then your outside receiver is running a post. And this is a great concept to run against like quarters match type coverages. Because what you're trying to do, you're putting that third level safety defender in a conflict. Not necessarily conflict, but when he attaches to the number 2 running vertical, because he has to take the vertical of the number 2. All right, well, now your corner is one-on-one deep down the field without safety help because that deep dig has drawn the safety. Okay, the Mills concept is a great concept to use against a quarters type coverage. All right, but Portland concept, put the tight end here and then this guy on the outside, is where you get like a dig from one side and a post from the other side of the field, right? Draw a line down the center. Okay. And it's something that I never really liked. I've never seen where I thought it was useful until I utilized it with this play. I think it's best when you use it with a third route to layer the concept, all right? To where we almost get like 3 players on 3 different levels. So we have our dig in the second level, we have our post for that third level, and we have the drag underneath for the first level. And this is where we put many defenders into conflict, or I should say we high-low multiple defenders. Because as you see here, with this post coming from this side, okay, and the dig coming here, with our drag grabbing that hook or curl defender, all right, that takes him out of the read for the post and the dig. Well, now, whatever this defender decides to do, if he were to stay in the window of the post, we can now throw the dig. However, if he were to drive on the dig, well, then the post will be wide open for a touchdown. Okay, we already can throw the post due to his hips, swinging to the weak side. Okay, but we also can get a really big play if he were to drive on this, and then we can just lob this over the top for a big play. All right, and you will see where I don't necessarily use this against cover 2 zone. And you can imagine if your opponent is using this defender, okay, he will almost always drive on the dig, and then you can hit that post. But where I've found it most lethal, or where we can get a really big play, is against quarters coverage. Okay, because the formation, So this is cover 2 zone. I want to show you in game. Okay, look at the mid read. He's hinging his hips. He's opening his hips to the weak side over here. And again, look at this nice little pocket for the post. It's there. Big play, touchdown. All right, so that mid read is kind of in no man's land. So it doesn't matter if he decides to continue up the middle of the field. We can still hit on that backside pocket. But I want to get to the Portland concept to where we can really put a lot of pressure on the backside safety. So this formation combined with this Portland type concept, again, a dig from one side and a post from the opposite end of the field is where you get this Portland concept. Okay. Maybe I haven't liked this concept because it doesn't make sense to attack quarters from like a 2x2 set. But with this formation, okay, if you think about quarters coverage, let's say they're running a regular quarters coverage. All right, the bubble would be here against a Trey type set. All right, he would be a 2-1. He would be a 1-2. He would be a match 2 out player or quarter flat. Okay, this guy would be the 3 rec. He would wall off, look to wall off the 3, and they would kick the safety to take the vertical of number 3. All right, that's a regular quarters coverage. So with this formation alone, we're getting one-on-one on the backside and one-on-one here. All right, if they're gonna play palms, well then the bubble would be here. This guy would be Meg. This guy would be Meg. This guy would be Meg in the game, and then he plays kind of like post control as the safety. Okay, and then we get a 3-2 read, 3-2 read. All right, very simple. I'll make videos on quarters and palms. Okay, but this is against quarters here, and I'll show you how this concept, snap the ball, play action. All right, 1, don't like it because this guy is Meg on the back, but the back stays in, so now he can zone off. But again, this little drag wants to grab this defender. Any, backside weak hook defender, he wants to grab this guy to open up the window for the dig. The dig is one-on-one on the backside, and he's going to be open running inside on that route there. Okay, but as you can see, look at how the safety can make a play on this. He has the potential to do that. But what if he does? If he does, well, now we have this post behind from the opposite side. This is where the Portland concept, I think, being ran from a Trey or trips type formation against quarters to where they kick the safety to the middle of the field is where we can get a high-low stretch on that kick safety over the middle of the field. Okay, so I really love the concept. And, if you think, well, the safety will always be in the window of this post, no, that is not true. Okay, so I'm going to show you here. All right, so I moved the ball back. And again, I think this is against regular quarters or palms. I don't remember which one. I guess that matters because regular quarters is going to take the vertical of number 3. But it doesn't necessarily matter because this guy stays underneath. So then he's just going to play kind of in the middle. All right. And against palms and quarters, your opponents, if they understand quarters coverage or palms, when they play like palms against a Trey trips set, they are going to use this player because they know that this is a player that they can use in the play, and he's kind of like your free roamer. All right. So you can really put the user in a bind with the Portland concept here. And you can high-low them, okay? But this is against the computer, and I want you to take a look at this. All right, this play takes a lot of time. That's why it's very important to know that you're going to get a soft type rush. Look at how he's in no man's land. So yes, we can fire this right here, but he's a little flat foot, and he does not get depth, and our post from the front side is there for a humongous play. So you can go in the lab and check it out. In game, I don't think most people would take that throw because they just want to take that deep dig. But I think it's important to be capable of throwing that so you can keep the defense honest. What I also found in the game, the game is just getting more and more interesting. The more they put like a lot of different stuff in there, is the pass protection. All right. So the pass protection and play action is a little bit different. So this is where I full slide to the right because we're going to be in 6-man protection with this play action. If you full slide to the right, okay, you'll notice how the back now has this backside defender on the first level. And it's a little bit unnatural because he got the play action, he's going this way, and then he has to work back to get that defender. All right, you'll see it here, works back and gets him. And you really have to step up in the pocket. I think it's so important with this play. So what I found best when it comes to play action against a soft type double high, I really like the base pass protection with this. All right. And what base really does, it really sets precedence on being real firm in the box, more like an interior type of deal. I'll get into all these pass protections and the differences between them at some point. Okay. And that's really what you want if you want a hard step up with this play action play. I think it's best to use this base pass protection. Okay, you're a little bit soft on the outside with one-on-ones with your tackles, but you'll see what I mean, how stepping up in the play in the box, and you just have more present in blocking up front with the base pass protection. All right, I'm gonna back up here. So, pocket presence is very important. And as you can see, this was against quarters with the safety kicking over to the middle of the field. We high-low him with the Portland concept right over the top for a humongous play. All right, so that's the play, PA wide receiver in. I want to go over, here's another example. All right, so yeah, you have to coverage read. I knew my opponent was in 2-man here. Okay, I can tell by pre-snap reading the defense. Okay, so right away I'm like, all right, I'm going to check in the PA wide receiver in. I know it's going to be a 4-man rush. I know you're in man-to-man inside leverage here, so I'm going to play action. I can work 1 to 2 to 3, but I kind of have an alert for this deep post for a big play here. Okay, but the second I saw this, okay, right here, now we have an alert here. All right, the safety's out of position. All right, so he's undressed his underneath corners. All right, if you think about it, wheel, post. Well, now the post has potential problems with the safety inside, but now our wheel pattern is available for a big play. Because again, this corner is under the assumption, and rightfully so, that he has over-the-top help with the safety. He doesn't know that the safety is not playing his responsibility correctly. And this is what I mean by your opponents or people you play, at times they will ruin the integrity of the defense by doing things like this. And you have to be able to punish them for doing this. So I snapped the ball. I already knew where I was going. And there it is. Okay. I can actually hit the post. I don't know what he was doing. He was biting on the underneath route. So he's doing the criminal thing as the front side safety. He's way over here. I mean, this is wide open. Okay. But I decided to throw our wheel. Okay. And I got a horrible throw here. I don't know why it didn't go further out, but we pick up a big play. So I'll leave it at that. I hope you got something from this video. I really wanted to hamper in on the Portland concept. It's not a concept that I've ever liked, but I see where it would make sense from a particular formation, like a trips type set and a dig coming from the single receiver side, right? And this is where we almost get a 3-level high-low read on multiple defenders in the play. All right, again, you want to run this against like soft double high type coverages. I wouldn't run it against cover 0. I'll leave it at that. I hope you got something from this video, and I hope you keep coming back for more, man. Peace.